Hey friends, it's Simon Hurley and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to use your gel press along with watercolor powders to create really unique effects. They kind of react in a really cool way with these gel presses and it gives it a totally different look. So let's turn on my work surface and get into it. Alright, now for these projects, I like to use some of the smaller gel presses. This one is the 3x5 inch, this one's the 4-inch round. I also love these little shapes, particularly this heart is really fun from these gel press petite packs. I just like to use these smaller ones because they give kind of a grounding point for a main focal point in your project. So I love these for card making. I think they are great to have on hand. Alright, so when it comes to using the gel press, I like to take it out of its package. And as a card maker, I'm used to stamps. So I just pull off one sheet of that acetate and I use it just like this so that I can still pick it up and maneuver it, which is helpful with this technique especially. All right, for this background, I'm gonna go in with some blues, greens, and yellows. So I'll just go in with this Nuvo shimmer powder and I'm just going to kind of tap it onto the surface like this. A little bit of this powder goes a long way, so you don't need much. You don't want to squeeze it or anything like that because then way too much powder is going to come out. Just light taps on the back of the bottle is going to release enough powder for our background here. And then finally I'll just tap in a little bit of blue as well. You can kind of mix colors how you'd like. Alright, now here's when I'm going to spray down my project with water. And you'll see this is when these are going to kind of react. You don't want to spray it too much. This is kind of how it should look with these little droplets. I don't want huge puddles though, just enough to kind of react to that color. And then here's why I keep the acetate sheet on, because then I can kind of flip it over like this and press it down. Now the cool part is because we've got that acetate sheet and because these are clear, I can totally see through it and see kind of how to move this color. So if I want to leave it like this, I totally can, but if I want to kind of move that color a little bit more, I can kind of press and get them to blend and move across the surface of the gel plate. Now what I love about these backgrounds is that the gel plate is a little bit sticky, so it kind of holds the powder in certain areas and is gonna give you stronger color in those areas. It's almost like a cool tie-dye effect. So I'm gonna take this and set it off to the side to dry before we peel it off. For this one I'm gonna use the circle, again just peeling off one of the acetate sheets, and then we'll add our color. Here I'm gonna use a little bit of this pink powder. I'm going to add a little bit more down than I did last time to show you you can really get an intense color if you want. I'll go in with a little bit of yellow next. Then finally I'll finish it off with a little bit of this bold red. I'm going to spray this down to react those powders. Here I'm going to use a little bit less water so I can show you the different results you can get. Then we can take this, position it where we want on our card, and place it down. Then again we have that option to kind of move and blend the color as little or as much as we want by pressing on the plate. And you can see again, wherever we added that powder, it's a lot more solid of a color and it's gonna create those really cool kind of tie-dye effect. I'll set this one off to the side too to let it dry and we'll come back to it in a second. Alright, you can see once it kind of starts lifting, we're able to remove it from the surface because most of it is dry. And there we have our finished background. So here's that background once it's completely dry. I love the little bit of shimmer that that powder adds, but that really cool kind of watercolor effect where the colors kind of burst out but stay in place is a really unique way to use these powders with the gel press. You'll have a little bit of that mica from the powder left and kind of stuck on your gel press, and all I do with this is just spray it down with water. Of course, you could try to get another print if you want, but I find that it's rather stuck down to there. So just to kind of remove it with a cloth is a pretty easy way to clean, and they shouldn't stain your gel press. Now we'll do the same thing with this one, remove it from the surface there. I love this one too. You can really see all of the different areas where it's a little bit more solid and kind of creates that tie-dye effect. And this one's got a lot of that mica on the surface too, which is just beautiful. Of course, there's so many different options with all the different sizes and shapes of gel presses. You can use it on the large ones and the heart like I showed you too, but let's turn these backgrounds into finished cards. For this, I'm gonna use the new Zesty stamp set. I love this one, and I'm gonna use this big lemon branch up top. I think that's gonna create a beautiful focal point for one of my cards. So I'm gonna ink this up with a little bit of black Versafine ink. And then we can stamp it right down onto our card. Give it some good pressure. When it comes to things like this, I like to use a little bit of clear heat embossing powder. it's gonna act as a little bit of barrier on that black ink, and it'll also make it nice and shiny. And then I'll heat set this until it's clear. All right, now I wanna use these powders just normally as well and show you guys how they work just by themselves. So one way to use them is I like the little spout that it has because you can really concentrate that color in specific areas. So I'm just going to go in on top of these lemons and add a little bit of that yellow powder down. And then I'll go in with a little bit of green for the leaves. And you can get quite close to the image just to make sure that it's going to land in the exact spot where you want it. Then I can go in and just start spraying down my water. And you'll see it's going to react those colors and create this really cool kind of mixed media effect, which is super bold and bright. And then I can go in with my heat tool. I like to use the Ranger heat tool here because it's a little bit has less speed, but it's got the same amount of heat. So it's really going to dry these colors super nicely without pushing them all around. To finish this off, I'll just go in and fussy cut this out. I like to leave a little bit of a border around it, and I'll just go in with my Fiskars Spring Assist scissors. I absolutely love these because they spring back out at you, so your hands won't get tired, and they got a nice fine point, so they're really great at getting into smaller little details when you're cutting out. All right, so I've cut out this circle, and then I'm just going to adhere it to my card, and I like to kind of put it a little bit off the card. Then I'll adhere the lemon branch right on top. And I love the contrast that this gives because it's kind of the cooler colors along with the warmer reds on the bottom. Then I'm going to use the sentiment that just says, "You're the zest." I like to use this kind of sheet to see what sentiments are going to fit there. And I liked the way that this one fit right there. All right, so I'm just going to use my anti-static powder tool, and then we're going to go in with a little bit of my clear sticky Versamark ink onto the sentiment and stamp it onto some black cardstock. We're going to do a little bit of white heat embossing. So I'm going to take a little bit of my Ranger white heat embossing powder and throw it right over top. Tap off any excess, and then I'll heat set this until it's bright white. And I love how this card turned out. Those watercolor powders create a really unique background, and I love how that circle kind of grounds everything in this area on the card. And finishing off with the lemon branch was so beautiful. Alright guys, I hope you really enjoyed the techniques I shared in today's video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe to the Gel Press YouTube channel to see more videos from talented gel press creators. I'll see you guys very soon in another card making and crafting video. Have a great day. Bye!